We are live. This is the Yes California Calexit Congress, the official discussion of the Calexit movement. We meet every Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific. 1 p.m. Pacific every Sunday. Everyone's invited. If you'd like to join the discussion, we're very transparent, very open, very loving here. If you look down, you can see a link. Now, if you click that link or you type that in, you could actually join the studio. And if I'll just click and let you into the discussion. If you misbehave, I'll boot you from the discussion in a second. But we always like new faces and new people, and we like everybody to know that we're open to discussion. There's the link below. You can join. Give me a second. We're going to do a little bit of a promotion, and then we'll be right back. Well, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for being here. Jason, do you want to go first with anything you want to say? Or I can do a general review.
Yeah. So just for I'll do general review for a couple of the special project stuff, since those of you who've been around for years will remember a point in time where I was the special projects director. That's something I still kind of do as the CEO, as the head of Calexit. So I will go ahead and provide a few simple updates for these special projects. So first off, we have the Calicoin NFT. Last week, during the meeting, I took a phone call from Emperor AP of Eternia Empire and got an update from him, brought it back, and it was to the effect that the actual metal worker who is actually working with molten metals and all of that to make these coins or tokens for us, the Calicoin, has been experiencing some personal life troubles. And, if you're a religious person, maybe say a little prayer for them. I'm sure, anything helps. That being said, they are still committed to seeing this project through to fruition. And, we pride ourselves on being decent human beings here at the Calexit movement. And so we are more than comfortable making room and allowances for people to, have personal life and deal with personal life issues when they come up. We're not trying to rush anything either. We want it done right. So we're gonna let them continue to take the time that they need. It does seem like everything is developing nicely still, as far as the touch-ups to the casting molds and its ability to turn out a good usable token for these friendship tokens. And again, that leads into the next part of the update, is these friendship tokens are meant for myself, Marcus, and Rabbi Axelman, our vice president, to give to friendly sister movements, so to speak. So all of the movements that we kind of are friendly with and, have a mutual respect with, such as Texit, New Hampshire Independence Crew, whether it's NHXit or Liberty Block, right? There are a few different groups kind of all in one. There's also Americans United for Peaceful Separation, AUPS, which is, I believe, spearheaded by our own Vice President, Rabbi Stephen Axelman. So, whoop whoop.
Whoop,
And you know, folks, real quick, AUPS, Americans United for Peaceful Separation, a group that says, hey, we realize there are those of us who see America is crumbling and separating and dividing and the potential for extreme violence. And we would like to prevent that violence because it doesn't seem like preventing the collapse is really something that can be done. Now, we also seem as a collective to realize there are some who are committed to peace and peaceful solution, you know, and amicable separation, and those who seem committed to Civil War 2.0. And it just kind of strikes me that those of us who are sane, decent, reasonable people who don't want to see the streets running red with rivers of blood, right? As people on the left and right have used that, you know, analogy, which tells you how close 2.0 is.
yeah.
We don't want that because we're sane, reasonable people. And so the way to prevent that, or at least what we can do to try to prevent that, is to come together in a manner of mutual respect. Hey, I don't agree with you, but I don't have to. You're you, I'm me. We don't have to fight and, you know, there can be only one. This isn't Highlander. This also isn't the movies where you can, you know, have a big old civil war and then everyone gets up afterwards when the director says cut. No, when those people fall down, they stay down forever.
Yeah.
And we realize this.
Yeah.
There is very serious potential for very, very serious hurt all the way across the board. So please do look into Americans United for Peaceful Separation, because the groups that are signed up to that, the groups that are here considered Americans, right, yet are in this same boat with us as far as we don't want mass bloodshed, we see the inevitability of the breakup. Well, look into it, make your own decisions, come to your own conclusions. But if you're in this same boat, then maybe, thank you, Marcus. Yeah. Then maybe consider signing up, joining up, do what you can to help get the message out there that there is another option. There really is. It doesn't have to be stay with an abuser or all hell breaks loose. There is a door number 3, so to speak. Now, this leads me into our Yes California Calexit, our next update. And that is, Marcus and I have been talking for a while about this, and we have come to the conclusion that we are going to join a conglomeration of yes groups. It is called All Under One Banner. All Under One Banner. This has yes groups from Scotland, Wales, Ireland, England, Germany, France, Catalonia. It's got people around the planet. This is a very large group that is coming together all under one banner because we're all these yes framed kind of movements. The whole thing is about being supportive of one another's movements, right? Help to share the messaging. So when we see them tweet something out, we just hit the retweet button. It's literally that simple. Maybe we add some hashtags to it to make sure that it gets higher up in the results. Ultimately, it's something that we probably would have and should have done had it existed sooner. And they approached us realizing that we weren't already kind of signed up to this conglomerate group. And yeah, there are groups that are involved with this that some of you may be a little eye-popping about. Yeah, the Yes Scotland campaign. They're kind of one of the big names there. But there are also what we would consider alliance groups. So a good example is German Friends of Scottish Independence, I believe it is. I may have got that slightly wrong. That's the effect of it, though, is that, it's German folk who are supportive of Scottish right to self-determination and hope to, see a, good, workable, peaceful outcome for the benefit of the people. It's, just allies. So some of the groups in it are yes groups. Some of the groups in it are allies of yes groups. Either way, this will increase our international reach. I can't even, I could pull a figure out the side of my head, but I'm just going to be 100% brutally honest and say I have no clue how beneficial this ultimately could be. It's big. It's bigger than even we are. And that's saying something. So we are Yes California, Calexit Campaign, Calexit LLC, the Calexit movement will be part of all under one banner. And again, we're already also regularly sitting at the table with Americans United for Peaceful Separation.
Hey, Julina, how you doing?
I'm good. Sorry, I jumped on late.
No, it's all great. Good to see you. Sorry, Jason.
I'm kind of traveling too, so I might cut out. I might lose service at some point. Just to give you guys a heads up.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
And real quick, for those of you who maybe are not, quite the hardcore old school Calexit heads, Julina Acosta right here, she is by far the best advocate that we know of between Indigenous community of California and those of us who seek a better way for California to live. Julina not only has been a staunch activist for a while, but she also understands things like policies and the way that, the government kind of works, the way it says it works, the way we like to think it works, and then the way that it really works, which is one of the things that makes her so effective. And we have appointed her as our Indigenous persons envoy. And so at a certain point, when we start really hardcore reaching out to Indigenous communities of California, be on the lookout for Julina Acosta. Remember that name, and remember that she is like hashtag woman of power right here, guys. Like, seriously, if you haven't met her, if you haven't got to know her, take the time. You will be highly impressed and very glad that you did.
We have your TikTok page. I can only show that. This is Julina Acosta on her TikTok page. 1,800 people following. That's pretty good. A lot of artwork, activism. Julina also has a Facebook page. Let's see here. There she is on Facebook. And speaking Pomo. And then she's also on YouTube. There's a thing called Burn the Wagon. See if we can get that to play. It's having a little bit of difficulty. Anyways, Julina Acosta, various places online where you can find her. Yeah, thank you, Julina, for being out here. I really appreciate you coming out to a discussion.
And real quick, Julina is also on the founding committee for the Socialist Party of California and is going to be helping us with certain proposals and making sure they are actually fair, adequate, respectful. Because ultimately, you know, if we really want to do this right, we had better do it right. And Julina here is going to help us do that.
Okay, Julina, would you like to say anything? Jason, do you want to start a conversation with Julina?
Yeah, I was going to say, Julina, do you have any questions about either Calexit or the party? I mean, I know the party meeting starts at 2, and this isn't going to turn into a, you know, just the political party discussion. However, there are 3 of us here right now who are actually on this formation of the political party. So though it's not specifically Calexit, it's something that the leadership of Calexit is very heavily involved in. So any questions you have, just throw them at us, and we'll see what we can.
I need some meat, Puggy. The fuck am I doing to rabbits?
Oh, sorry, I was looking at your TikTok page. It's funny. There's a lot of funny stuff on your TikTok page.
Yeah, no
All right,
problem.
I was looking at something. I was like, it said Auntie Buta is going to explain how it's done, and all. Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to talk with both you and John before I got onto this, but I'm actually traveling because I'm gonna be going to do some treks, prescribed burning, and I got a pack test today. So, I kind of just would, if you guys can or don't mind, like just kind of like giving me like the rundown of like where you guys are with the party at the moment, and if you guys have been reaching out to any tribal communities recently, and if you have, like what tribes and what your expectations are with the party and working with tribal communities. Like what are some things that you guys would want to see happen with this?
Marcus, do you want to go from there, and then maybe I'll chime in when you're done with a little bit of what I would personally, what I envision with the party and tribal outreach?
Sure, but you're opening it up to my interpretation. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. We have done none. We haven't reached out to any other tribal groups. I haven't done it largely because my experience is if you go to tribal people and you don't have a clue what you're talking about, and it's all up in the air and it's a bunch of ideas and it's not tangible and you don't have it really nailed down, then they're going to say, well, what is exactly are you asking me to sign on to? Like, if you don't have it nailed down and specific, my understanding and experience is tribal people are cautious with good reason because of a long history of being tricked. And so I have found that it's better to go when you have it really like, here's what we're doing. And so when you go to tribal people, they can actually see what you're doing all the way through from the beginning to the end so that they can thoroughly investigate it, see where you're going, what you're talking about, where you end up, what the potential pitfalls could be, who your potential allies could be. So it gives them the opportunity to look at all angles of how they could possibly be affected by this. Because there's many things that I found where it's not considered to be an issue for California culture, but it is certainly considered to be an issue for tribal culture, because tribal culture, and even down to each tribe, is different from the next one. But tribal culture, as I've understood it, in a little bit of time I've been learning in the last couple of years, it's very different than California culture. And they don't have any interest in changing, nor should they. They were here before us. They're retaining their culture. That's a California value. And so one of it is you have to do the things that works for them. And my experience is they rightfully have an institutional history and memory of being tricked. And so I'm always of the opinion, and we did this with Yes California before we did the return federal land thing. We got criticized because they said, well, why didn't you go to tribal people first? And they go, well, which tribe? Because as I understand, each tribe is its own universe. And just because one tribe said something doesn't mean the next tribe goes, oh, that's cool. So you could go, hey, I got 5 tribes saying apples are the best fruit out there. Who cares? I got 20 tribes saying oranges are. And each tribe is its own universe and is under no obligation to listen to what any of the other 130 tribes are. There are 130 separate nations. And so I view it as like if you went to a nation and you said, hey, Scotland, Ukraine, France, I want you to enter into this complex international partnership with me. Oh, what's it about? We don't really have it written down. It's kind of this, and maybe we'll do that. And we were thinking this. No nation goes to another nation with a potential treaty at the brainstorm foundation. Doesn't happen. They might have a summit before, but that's not how they do it. So maybe this was the wrong way to do it. If you're asking me, I didn't approach because I wanted us to have it more fleshed out. I wanted us to have it down to here's our exact philosophy. Here's at least 20 to 30 policies. Here's some of the laws that we're going to propose. And so that when we approached Indigenous people, they could see where we were coming from and where we might go. And it gives them enough information that they can make a really intelligent choice about if they want to be associated with us or not. So that's the response. And that's why we're having the meeting today, because we finally got a lot of the research down to where we could start saying what we're about. And that's why Jason worked very hard to try to get Julina to come to this meeting so that we could get some Indigenous input early on in the brainstorming session. So we could be even better when we initially present it to more tribes. I'll turn it over to Jason from there.
Yeah, so and thank you for that, Marcus. That was very well said, and I'm sure it would have taken me 3 times as long to get to all of that. Because I'm a bit wordy, like an Ent, for those of you fellow Lord of the Rings fans, fellow Tolkienites. But when it comes to the vision, and now I'm right there with you, right? Like, we've got Julina, we've reached out to Julina to help pull her on board to help us really make this thing right. Because there is very clearly, we don't know it all, and we don't know a lot when it comes to tribal issues, right? And we know enough to know that, and to know that the way that we are going to be able to do it right is most likely going to be this way, through having someone like Julina, someone of her caliber and cultural standing and, knowledge, come and, be an integral part of this whole thing. And, most people would not really, most California or otherwise, most politicians would not really so readily include an activist, let alone Indigenous activists. And that's a huge part of the problem. And we know that. And that's why we have very blatantly gone about things pretty much the exact opposite way from the usual. That being said, we do see that, it would be kind of foolish to go and approach communities with something that hasn't even been fully formed. So what I'm hoping is that most specifically for issues around Indigenous communities and rights, and the return of the federal lands, the usage of sacred cultural sites, things like this. We are for it, and we would like to see it actually happen. And because we only know so much, we need the help to make sure that it gets done right. That way it can actually happen. Because if we put something together and it's flimsy, then it might not even go through, and we've spent all of that time and effort to spin our wheels. So my personal hope, and Marcus, it's awesome that you touched on, the thought of a gathering of sorts. I would actually like to see how many tribes of California would be willing to send a representative to meet with us, with this formation committee, and mainly having Julina be our point person reaching out. That way it's not me, just some blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guy, right? Because I know there is a long history. History goes back a long way. And a lot of history here in North America when it comes to people who look like myself. Not good at all. So this is another way having Julina on board really helps, because she is being included, very actively included. And if she's the one that we choose to go and, say, hey, you're invited if you want, this right here is like, the proof is in the pudding, walk the walk, don't just talk the talk. It's one of those ways that we can just show that, yeah, we really are genuine about this. I would like to have a sort of a gathering, if that's possible, so that we can all put our collective heads together as people who call California home, right? And I'm living in Oregon now because I can no longer afford to live in my home of California. But, home is where the heart is, and I will forever and always be eternally California. So I see our Indigenous brothers and sisters, whether they are Californian in the sense of being a part of, this grand dream of California, or Californian in the sense that their tribe is, their sovereignty is located within this beloved golden land. I would like us all to put our heads together to figure out what it is that's wanted and needed, and then how to best go about it, one, in a completely non-offensive way. we don't want to say anything or do anything that's going to drive people away, which is why we're being so careful. And my sincere hope is that that message gets out there far and wide. I know I'm a white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes and got the face of many a subjugator throughout the world, right? Like I know that. And I can be honest about it. And that's also why I feel that it is important that we not have my head being the one doing all this, but we have many, many, many heads all coming together, many diverse heads coming together to make something good truly happen.
Hey, we got a new person to the stream, Lucas White. Welcome, Lucas. We love having new people. Be polite and respectful, but welcome, sir. What do you think about what's going on with the discussion? Bringing in Indigenous people, forming a socialist party, or about Calexit in general? Or anything Jason just said?
I think you're all illegitimate. You are not Calexit. Goodbye.
Lewis.
This is
It's Louis Marinelli. Womp womp. Nice try. That right there is recorded. And Marcus, real quick, that was recorded harassment from Louis Marinelli. We all heard his voice. He even started saying who he was before we even just cut him off. Louis J. Marinelli, you are under active federal investigation. You are wanted by the highest levels of authority in the United States of America. We want nothing to do with you. Leave us alone.
Yep. Yeah.
My apologies to everyone that had to be said.
Well, what I don't like is that, and we're going to keep doing it, but I hope you all saw how he takes advantage of our transparency and our openness to discussion. So we have meetings and we post everything we do, and then he's always watching and figuring out ways to dig at us. And then here's a meeting, and I invite people from the public and say, hey, would you like to contribute to the discussion? No, it's another trick. So I hope you saw that we are transparent and up front and honest, and we get used and attacked by him for doing that. So he misrepresented himself and lied and used our honest disposition in order to promote himself. So I hope everybody saw that. That was thoroughly documented. He did not identify himself correctly. He specifically lied about who he was. He specifically took advantage of us, trying to have people join the conversation. I specifically said only mention things if it's relevant, and he took a dig at us. So this is, I don't think it's better documented than this. So I hope everybody could see that. Thoroughly documented. I don't want to spend any more time on it. Let's move on. Maybe we could even have Julina talk about the Indigenous, because this is the key thing. All that is a distraction, right? We're trying to get a socialist party up. We're bringing in Indigenous people. We have a documentary coming. We're making our own 10 years of Calexit documentary. America's still pushing towards civil war. Midterms are still coming. We have built up our reputation, and everybody knows this is the real Yes California and the only name in the game, thanks to Jason's leadership. So let's not be distracted, right? Everything's going our way. So maybe let's just move on with the Indigenous conversation. I just wanted to make sure, good point, Jason, documented harassment. So you all saw it. Let's just move on, because it's nothing but a distraction. And like I said, if you're dealing with garbage, you're not doing activism, right?
Yep. And so, Julina, is there anything that we didn't cover that you still have questions on? Is there any thought that you have as far as what we've said?
Well, we'll have Julina on. Julina, we'd love to hear your comments. Sorry about the distraction, but we are committed to bringing in Indigenous. We wanted to date. Jason has been, how do I say this correctly? Concretized, if you know what that word means, in his opinion that the Indigenous have to be brought in at step one, maybe even step zero of the formation of the Socialist Party. So he has been a consistent driving force for, we have to get Julina, we have to have the Indigenous here, at least brought in to some degree early on in the discussion. So I wanted to point that out, and that's why Julina's here. Is concretized means you may have had an opinion, but it became solid and unchangeable over time. So I'll leave it there. Julina's here. Jason's been, I met Julina first. I brought Julina in, but boy, has Jason been an advocate for her. Wow. He frankly will not shut up about how awesome she is and how important her contributions are. I'm not lying. So just being honest. Okay, Jason, other updates. Maybe cover what the Socialist Party is. That was the second question Julina had, was our involvement with her, with the Indigenous. But she also wanted to know, where's the party going? What do you think it is? So I know we're going to have another meeting at 2, but in a roughly quick summer, maybe for Julina and maybe with an eye towards other Indigenous who may watch this, how would you describe it?
So the Socialist Party of California is, oh, I just got a message from John. Should I join? Yes.
Oh, John
will be here in just a few seconds. And then he could actually say it even better than I can. So maybe I'll just go ahead and throw it out there that I see that this party is going to be formed on providing what the majority of California's voters want and need, thereby effectively positioning ourselves to replace both the Democrats and the Republicans in California. Sure, there might still be an eighth of California that's Republican and an eighth that's still Democrat, and little smatterings from other parties here and there. But ultimately, this party will actually be adequately representative of what the people want and need, thereby making it the most likely source for political achievement, if you will, legislative achievement, should we, have people from this party be elected. So that's the potential that we are working towards. And when looking at the issues that we are putting into our plank, our, platform of issues that we wish to conquer legislatively, through, having people run from the party and be elected and represent these issues in these manners, we really could do this. And you can see it when you look at it. If you're a California voter, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, unless you're a hardcore extremist. Now, some people are hardcore extremist blue, and so they only will ever vote for Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton. Some people are hardcore extremist red, and they will only ever vote for Trump.
This is a fake campaign. It's a fake campaign.
Oh my goodness. Get Lewis out of here, please. Thank you.
So Lewis just heard that we were inviting John Drake over. I saw John's name. I thought it was John Drake. Very clever.
Did he just pose as John Drake?
Just posed as John
impersonating a political... Oh, wow. Lewis, dude, you've already committed high felonies. Like, you should probably stop while you're ahead, dude. Like, don't drag your wife and child down with yourself, okay?
All right. I don't want to, this is his plan. right?
Yep.
Like, is what he does.
Well, his plan is very half-baked because he's only going to cost himself everything.
Well, I'd also want to
Anyway.
point out Lewis just insulted Indigenous people. I'll show you that in a second here.
Yeah. Yeah, he's spamming up the comments. Is there a way to block him?
Well, I'm documenting the comments now because I've
been taking screenshots
I
the
emailed
whole
his
time.
harassment to like 4 or 5 different people, so it's thoroughly documented. So I will delete it in a second, but I need to thoroughly document it now. But I really don't want to spend the show talking about the dude. This is what he does. He's a troll, so he can get people talking about it. Like, it's about negative attention. Yeah, so he's specifically calling out Julina. Where'd she go? Hey, wasn't it funny when I was dancing around the campfire like a Native American? So I'm not going to print that. I don't want to focus on that. I just want to point out this is a continuing display of racism and bigotry, which was the reason why I had a business divorce from him in the first place with the Kyle Rittenhouse decision. So
yeah,
it's a continuation of that.
Back to what I was saying is that
yeah,
other than the hardcore extremists who will only ever vote the way they have always voted, and they are stuck in that, they are rooted in that, they are immovable, they are concretized, right?
Nice.
Other than those California voters, the majority of the rest of all of California's voters should actually be able to see these issues that we say are the most pertinent issues facing California, as well as the plans that we have to, the plans and vision that we have to address these issues and actually solve them. Hopefully everyone can see that and get on board for all of our sake. I am going to give John, is he in right now?
He's in the wrong studio, so let me call him and fix this.
Okay, well, I'm sending him a message. Name yourself, and I'm not going to say it out loud. I'm going to put it in the chat for you, Marcus, so that you know what to look for.
Yeah, hold on for a second here. John Drake is here. John Drake, is that actually you? John Drake, you have to unmute yourself.
Bruh.
Okay, so this is actually John Drake. Okay, great. The real John Drake is here.
Nice. Will the real John Drake please
stand up? Please.
So, John, I've been talking a little bit about the potential of the party. Would you care to explain the party itself and kind of what some of our stances and views are?
Okay. So I didn't hear the conversation previously, so I might say the same things. I don't know. So how I see this party sort of transforming is that it's going to do the things that Democrats in the state of California have been very, very reluctant to do, and actually go above and beyond many of the policies that they even support. So, like, for example, like raising minimum wage. We can raise minimum wage in California to $22 an hour, but it's rarely often very effective immediately, nor is it something that is 100% guaranteed. There's always like a lot of stipulations that exist in many of the policies that we push. Universal healthcare has been shot down multiple times by Democrats in the California Senate and the California State Assembly. And so what this party essentially is doing is that it's coming out of the woodworks. It's having a complete rebrand and is going to be this left-wing party that, I guess, takes no prisoners, as maybe a way to put it. It's very confident in itself, and it's going to do the things that Californians have wanted for decades, and the things that we know we should have in the 21st century, as any developed society should. So like if that's universal health care, if that's even because we are a tech hub, we have like a lot of companies, for example, often data mining and using and selling that information to other companies and other and other entities. I say that those companies should be taxed on the revenue generated from that data mining, and we don't do that in the state of California. And so by being able to take on big tech this early and from the get-go, we're really making a statement that we not only care about your privacy and your data and who you are, but we also think that companies should be paying their fair share. How is that? I don't.
Amen to that, my brother.
Nice.
Okay.
Julina, any questions for John? We got John here. Any questions for him at all?
Well, and she is driving, so.
Okay. Okay, hey, Jason, I'm going to turn it back to you. Last 13 minutes before we go to the formal discussion of the Socialist Party. Anything you would like to say?
Yeah, so basically she says her internet keeps cutting out. She's trying to stay connected and she couldn't hear everything.
Ooh, I have a question, and you guys might be able to answer this. It's about the whole documentary thing. Is it strictly a podcast, or is there going to be like video?
I don't know the answer to that. I believe it is. It's definitely a podcast. There might be video. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have the answer to that. We will we'll know shortly when it's out. It should be out soon. Let me see if I can get an answer to that question.
Yeah, I do know that they have a trailer that has video to it, like a mini-series teaser, right? I am not entirely certain if that was just like a video accompaniment just for the trailer. I know this guy X. I believe I've actually met him once before. I know he's a very fair-minded individual. He seems to be pretty well rooted in, just trying to find out the facts, right? What is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And, like dissemination of information, all of that. So, he seems like a pretty decent guy to me, and I'm really looking forward to this whole thing. I have hope that it's gonna turn out really well.
Yeah, I do too. So we are minutes away from joining that discussion about the Socialist Party, and that should be awesome. Computer's not working. Okay. My computer's frozen up, so I am limited in what I can do. I'll just leave it. Any other comments from anybody else, or we'll end the meeting here, and I'll see you all at 2 o'clock for the Socialist Party.
Yeah, I mean, I got no further questions or anything.
Okay.
Could go ahead and sign off in my usual way if no one else has anything to say.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, I will. I'll see you guys at 1 o'clock or whatever, 2 o'clock for the Socialist Party meeting coming up in just a few minutes. Advertised. I'll see y'all there. Everyone has the links in the email and on our social media page. Also, when we open up the stream, I'll post the stream so guests who are legitimately there for that discussion can join. Okay, see y'all later.
Alrighty.
Thanks for coming out.
Viva todos Californios. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.